Hey, this is the World Advice Channel. What I want to talk about today is a question that, of course, since 2024 is now here, a lot of us are wondering, which is the question of will 2024 be a good year or a bad year? Well, the simple answer to that question, before, which I will get to for this video, the first answer to the question, to answer that question in a straightforward as a way as possible is simply put it, no. And here's the reason why. Now, the reason why 2024 is not going to be a good year is simply down, as usual, through using common sense. You can see down to the situations we have in the world that, of course, well, are still there, you know, and of course, haven't been resolved since 2023. Now, to further elaborate on what I'm trying to get at, the reason why I believe 2024 is going to be a horrible year is simply due to the fact that that first and foremost, there is the U.S. presidential election, which oh my God is going to get ugly. Not to mention, secondly, you have things like the Ukraine crisis, Ukraine war, whatever you like to call it, and lastly, you have the Israeli um, Gaza Palestinian situation going on. Those are the three major things. There's other things, but those are the three major things that's going on in the world. And now to explain what I'm trying to say, all of those things haven't been resolved. So when it comes to the question of if 2024 is going to be a good year or a bad year, it's simply going to be a bad year. Because the truth of the matter is, a lot of the things that were there before haven't been resolved. And just simply using common sense, let's get to the first one, obviously, the US presidential situation, Donald Trump situation, to be more specific. A lot of Americans in general are divided, simply put it, when it comes to Donald Trump. Okay? A lot of Americans are very divided on this particular issue. And it hasn't gotten any better. And the reason why I think 2024 is going to be a horrible year is is not only is an election year in America, boy, that's already a sign, and it is. It's not going to be a good year. It's also simply due to the fact that the liberals, a lot of liberals, even me being a liberal myself, a lot of liberals, powerful liberals, are doing one of the worst things imaginable. They are trying to ban Donald Trump from being able to actually, you know, go into the presidential election race. Okay. Which, of course, in the eyes of right wingers, especially since they feel that they're being oppressed by society, is just going to make them feel like this is just reinforcing their beliefs and their opinions even more than even before, you know? So, of course, as a result, there's going to be a conflict. Some people are going to say Donald Trump has a right to seek re-election. Some are going to say he does not, and it's going to create a lot of conflict and division um, in America. And more certain than not, nothing in life is for certain. There's going to be another January 6th type situation again. Because a lot of Americans are fed up with the situations, a lot of situations from illegal immigration to wokeness and all this type of stuff have built up over time. So a lot of Americans are very unhappy with the way America's going. And of course, let's not forget the $1 million prize. Obviously, inflation. The price of things is going up so much. A lot of people are unhappy, and of course, people are going to seek Donald Trump as a way to fix the problem. You know, and simply put it, it's going to create a lot of division, and there's going to be a lot of chaos for 2024. And America specifically, and since America is the most powerful nation in the world, it will affect everyone in some way, shape, or form. So obviously, that's a first point. Okay, the second point to go alongside that is Ukraine-Russia conflict. Ukraine is clearly running out of steam because Ukraine made one of the worst mistakes of war. Is focusing more on actual technology than actually focusing on the quality of training of your troops. Ukraine made that mistake. They got a lot of aid and this and that. And they have the right to defend their nation? Absolutely. But at the same time, they didn't play the war properly, do war properly. They relied on handouts from the UK and this type of stuff, which just further kind of made the population grow to dislike Ukraine as a result, and all that type of stuff. Um, so simply put it, Ukraine is in a lot of crap because in the end of the day, no matter how you look at it, they're probably going to lose, even though they had slightly better troops and better technology. Definitely better technology in that case. The thing is, they're running out of that technology and that aid. And simply put it, Russia has so many people compared to Ukraine. Ukraine has like 20, 30 something million people. Russia has 100 million people. How are you going to fight against them, especially if your troops are poorly trained? You know, and needed simply better quality equipment to do well, and now they're not getting it. Obviously, Ukraine is gonna probably collapse or at least have a lot of issues. So that's gonna make things even worse, and it's just gonna create, obviously, as a result, a lot of conflict in the world because some people are on Ukraine side, some people are on Russia side, and more drama than you've ever seen before. So that's another thing that's clearly going to make things worse. Now, the third issue, obviously, the Israel Palestine conflict is obviously going to get worse. Israel is going to continue on with it. And even after, of course, if it ends, the impact of it is still going to using common sense, of course, is still going to be there as well. So, of course, especially with all the destruction and how much people have have voiced their opinions and so on and so forth, it's going to create a lot of issues and create more political tension in the world, and of course help fuel hatred on both sides, whether it could be Islamophobia for the Arabs, and of course anti-Semitism for the Jews. And that's simply it. This year is not going to be a good year. So to answer the question, it's going to be a bad year. And simply put it, to end this off, all I have to say is that when it comes to the question if a year is going to be a good year or a bad year, it's simply down to common sense. If you have a year that came before and a lot of the issues have been left unresolved, you are going to have a year that's even worse. That's going to be, the next year is going to be an even worse year. So the simple answer to the question is 2024 going to be a bad year? Yes. And the simple reason was why is because things have been left unresolved. Simply put it, to answer your question. And in life, whenever things are left unresolved, you're always going to see bad things happen. It's just down to common sense. Okay? Because that's the world we live in, and it's just down to the rules of logic. If you have a situation that's bad, the next year is going to be bad because the situations are left unresolved, and particularly the fact that the people who are on this planet are dumb as hell just adds even more fuel to the fire, if anything. So the truth of the matter is that is a way to be able to tell if a year is going to be a good year or a bad year. See if the situation from the previous year has been resolved, and if it has not been resolved, it's gonna, of course, affect things even more for the next year. You know, it is down to common sense because we live in an age where everyone's always wondering, oh, is this going to be a good year? Is this going to be a good year? Is this going to be a bad year? Is this going to be a bad year? Is this going to be a good year? Is this going to be a good year? Is this going to be a bad year? Is this going to be a bad year? All the time you hear this all the time. But you can just simply use your brain and be able to tell if a year is going to be good or going to be bad. It's down to common sense. So simply put it, when it comes to answering that question, is 2024 going to be a bad year? Hell yeah. And to even add more to that, this decade is going to be quite a trumptuous year. I should say trumptuous decade for that matter. It's just down to common sense, just like inflation. How are you going to fix that? You think things like that are going to change overnight? No. So what do you think is going to happen? This is going to be a horrible decade, as it is already. And this year is not going to be one of the better years. If anything, probably one of the worser years, truth be told. So to answer your question in short, yes, 2024 will be a bad year. Hopefully you can make it good for yourself, but personally speaking, but on a global level, absolutely, in my honest belief and just simply fact for that matter, it's not going to be a good year. It's not going to be a good year. On the world stage, there's going to be more drama, more conflict, more divisions, same old, same old, same old. And that's why you should make sure you live your life to the best you can live it and make it as great as possible. Because everything that's going on in the world, the people who are in power have been warned about this for decades. They didn't listen. And of course, as you see it, as usual, shit hits the fan, and now everything is going to continue to fall apart. So that's the truth about the world. for this year, it's going to be a horrible year. And that's all I have to say. If you like this video and like videos like this, remember to thumbs this video up and hit the subscribe button. And that's all I have to say. Hope you enjoyed it, and that's all. Simply put it, later.